We are wrestling. We are wrestling podcast.
They give a shout out to We Are Wrestling on YouTube.
You're watching We Are Wrestling.
I'm the host with the most.
You are by far the least intelligent.
What's going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man. 1/3 of We Are Wrestling.
What's going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs Worldwide. Ben here, the third of the talk show.
We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Make sure to subscribe, baby.
We are wrestling.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, the best one, Donnie here with.
What's going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man. 1/3 of We Are Wrestling. It's been a little bit since we've been here, man. What's going on, brother?
What's going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs Worldwide. It has been 1/3 of the We Are Wrestling podcast. Back at it with another episode with the boys, the big three. We got a lot of stacked shit to talk about today, and I'm really, really excited to dive into it. But before we do that, Don, take it away, brother.
That's right. It feels great to be COVID-free. Feels great to be back with you guys because I was a fan last week, but now it's back, the big three. But before we dive into this week's episode, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just a 5-star review, but a best one review, and download the episode. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO. And of course, you already know, the grind is real.
Yeah,
I just realized, man. I didn't realize. I didn't just realize it now. I realized it last week, but I figured I would throw this in there, man. You and LA Knight could have been fucking roommates, bro, because you managed to get COVID around the same time he did.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, man. Like, it's starting to come back, which for me, it was very weird because this was the third time that I had it. And the first 2 times I had it, felt like I got hit by a train. I was out of commission, but the third time around, only head congestion. Wasn't too bad.
Yeah, man.
I have yet to get it.
Oh, fucking buckle up, brother. When you do, it's gonna fuck you
I have an
up.
awkwardly strong immune system, so I don't get sick that often.
Yeah, but when you do, it's fucking hilarious because you're like a grown-ass baby. You're fucking just incapacitated as fuck. Doesn't want anything to do with shit. Just wants to sleep. And
Leave me
shit.
the fuck alone.
Nah, seriously. But glad you recovered, man.
Hell yeah, man. And this week over on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel, we have a brand new episode of Hot Takes talking about the Jade Cargill news because ESPN posted an article of her officially joining WWE. We knew the rumors for a few weeks now, but it's official, which obviously we're going to dive into it later on the podcast. And we even uploaded a sponsored match thanks to our, good partners, Blitzkrieg Pro. We had a great 6-man tag match over at the Luau. That's up on the channel. And yesterday we had the AEW Wrestle Dream predictions video come out as well. So recommend you guys to go check that out. And we're going to have a watch along live over on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel this Sunday for Wrestle Dream.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely, and I'll be live on my channel on Saturday for NXT No Mercy. Don't watch the shows, but they usually put on really good PLEs, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Plus, it's out of the stupid-ass fucking Performance Center, which I can't stand, so win-win, man.
Oh, okay. Man, Danny's toxicity, ladies and gentlemen.
Here we go.
But every week, we like to start off the podcast with the highlight of the week. So this week, what would be your highlight of the week?
You go first, Danny.
Nothing. I ain't got nothing, bro. Didn't watch Raw. Obviously, don't watch Smack. Don't watch NXT. I've got fucking nothing, bro.
You got shit all. Let me think, because I think I watched stuff. I watched stuff. I've watched a lot of wrestling content lately, and it's really weird. So like my time is really messy. Like I've watched I think the most recent shit, but then I've watched the previous episode, and then I got mixed up in the pay-per-views. I got mixed up in fucking documentaries.
Did you guys
I'll
hear
help you
what's
get back
happening
on
though?
time.
What?
Hulu's taking away SmackDown and Raw.
Where's it going to?
Anymore.
Peacock?
No, it's just their contract with Hulu ran out. So I think up next week it's gonna be taken off Hulu forever. So I don't know.
Womp womp.
You'll be able to watch it on
Damn.
Peacock. They usually throw it up like a month after the show airs, but I mean, who the fuck wants that?
Yeah, that's dumb as hell. Yeah, Hulu was just like the day or two after. So
It was
yeah,
literally like a couple
Almost-
hours after the show aired. They would put an edited version without the commercials.
So get me up to speed, Donnie.
All right, so here's basically like what happened. Friday
Okay.
Night SmackDown, we had, Jimmy Uso, we had Solo Sikoa, and John Cena and AJ Styles, which AJ Styles got written off. He got injured. And it looks like John Cena will be having a mystery partner for, the
LA
match
Knight.
coming up. And it's
Hell
speculated
yeah.
to be LA Knight. Then
Hell yeah.
over on Monday Night Raw, more chaos with the Judgment Day and Jey Uso and, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It was a pretty good episode, I think.
And this is going to be good for the next pay-per-view. That they're going to be having this match.
They're
Jimmy
teasing it
Uso.
for War Games in fucking November.
So
Ooh.
pretty much like they're teasing it's going to be the Judgment Day, which will be Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Dirty Dom, and JD McDonough, who's still trying to join the group, versus Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso.
Oh, that's going to be lit as fuck. That's going to be a good
And after
ass.
that, I think Cody will get traded to SmackDown. And then
Yeah.
over on AEW, we had a really cool cliffhanger that happened with,
Okay.
Yeah.
somebody wearing the MJF, devil mask.
Adam Copeland.
It's 100% Adam Cole, man.
Bro,
It's
he
100%.
he broke his fucking ankle in 3 places, bro. In 3 places. How the fuck is that Adam Cole? We'll talk about it. We'll get there.
Oh, we're
That's
gonna
one of the
get
topics,
there.
right? So yeah, we'll talk
So
about
Ben,
it.
what
but
would
my
be your
God.
highlight of the week? It could be anything wrestling. Like it doesn't even have to be like the
oh,
weekly show.
so just like something that I've just been kind of like into.
your highlight,
recently?
man.
Okay. I'm gonna. The Rock returned this week, right? It was this week that he returned.
Nope,
That
that
was last
was
week.
2 weeks
Last week?
ago.
Oh, fucking Christ, Jesus, fuck.
And he hasn't
all right.
been seen from since.
Okay. Yeah, dude, I got nothing. I got nothing. I'm blanked out, dude.
I feel like I'm
well,
in elementary school. What'd you do over the summer break?
Well, actually, honestly, so we were just talking about it before we started, before we hit record, just going through like wrestling fandom, like, the whole GTS wrestling and seeing like a bunch of these bigger stars, doing a bunch of things when they were still building their names. Like for example, MJF, on GTS, that was a really fun time. And then seeing Grimm's vlog where MJF became the world champion was fucking awesome because it's like full circle. It's nice,
Yeah,
so it's
over
kind
at
of cool seeing
Full
it from
Gear,
the outside
right?
looking in. Yeah, and it was really, really cool. So I think shit like that would probably be my highlight of the week.
That's
We
a
need to
highlight
figure
of the
out-
week, man. That's
need to
pro
figure out
wrestling.
We need to figure out how to get Grimm to come to the next wrestling classic, man. I think that'd
Yeah.
be fire. And he
That'd
lives
be
in New
sick.
Jersey, so it's only a couple hours away.
Yeah,
That would be
sick.
pretty lit. But
That'd be
I'll
fucking
give you
sick.
guys my highlight of the week. It's got to be the cliffhanger on AEW Dynamite because it's about fucking time. AEW is actually putting on a solid television show. I think the wrestling has always been fantastic, but one of their biggest things that they lack is, consistency and storylines. And I think them ending this, off on a cliffhanger like that, somebody, wearing, the devil mask, I think is a great ending because, of course, last week we got all those releases that happened. And, especially now with the rumors about Edge, joining All Elite Wrestling, there's a lot of speculation there. And of course, Adam Cole, because of, the picture that surfaced during, Wembley with, the devil mask being hung up behind him. So there's a lot of speculation there. And I think it definitely makes it interesting because literally 24 hours as we're recording this, people are still talking about this. And this is what pro wrestling needs. You need cliffhangers because at the end of the day, when you're watching it, it's going to make you want to tune in next week or the next show. So honestly, I'm very proud of Tony Khan for finally doing something like this. And I got to go with that as my highlight of the week.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, like if I had to pick a highlight of the week, it would have to definitely be last night's episode of Dynamite. Like, was it the best episode we've ever had? Absolutely not, far from it. But it was the consistency, the storytelling, the progression when it comes to storylines, the cliffhanger that we got towards the end. Obviously, Adam Cole and MJF is the best stuff going. That's not bloodline related. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the TikTok,
Nope.
or even
Nope.
like even if you
Hate
watch like
TikTok.
YouTube Shorts or whatever. But this video of this guy on a unicorn raft, and he gets pulled out to sea because he hooked a shark on
We're
his
talking
fucking
about the New
fishing
Day?
rod. No, there's a
You
YouTube
like
short, and
unicorn?
this ties into the whole MGF thing. There's a YouTube short and
This is
TikTok.
getting weird.
It went fucking viral about these dudes who are on like this fucking boat in the middle of the ocean. They end up stumbling across this fucking unicorn raft, and it's a fucking dude, obviously, like one of those football bro dudes. He was fishing, and something pulled him out to sea. It ended up being a shark. So they pulled him up onto the boat along with the raft, and they were fighting to get the fucking shark off the hook. That's where they got the inspiration. Big
Who the
Show
fuck
or
is
Paul
they?
Oh, I know what he's talking about now.
Oh, okay.
I was very lost. Captain
Dog.
Insano.
Yeah.
Dog,
Big Show
that
showed up in
you
this whole
had
thing.
me fucking out of it for a
I was
second
so
there, dude. That
lost
sounded like
for a
some
minute.
horror.
Wow.
That sounded like some horror story shit. I was just like sitting there. I'm like, what the fuck is this dude?
That
A
was
shark
cool
and a
though to see.
unicorn?
That was so cool to see the Big Show appear on AEW. It was about time. It's long overdue. But with that being said, let's dive into the topics for We Are Wrestling 76. And speaking of one of my highlight of the weeks, Matt Riddle announced on his social media that he's no longer a part of WWE. What's your thoughts on them moving on from him?
Good. Especially with the merger
Matt-
with Endeavor. They don't really want any part of any kind of animosity outside of the company. They don't want to be attached to any kind of drama, any kind of, delinquency, I guess we'll put the term as. They don't want anything bad to be tarnished next to their name. So I mean, the dude is clearly going through it right now. He's definitely going through the ringer. There's definitely some hints at some breakdowns going on and some yeah. So I'm not going to dive too much into his personal shit. Enough is out there to know, but I hope that eventually he gets good and can prosper elsewhere. I think AEW is a big possibility for him. Impact is a big possibility. New Japan would be fucking great for him. There's a world out there for him to venture. I just hope that, he can chill a little bit, and I think he has a bright future anywhere he goes because he's absolutely athletic. He's talented as hell. And again, he's obviously a real life fighter, so he could really thrive anywhere. So I have no doubt in my mind that, as long as, he stays straight, then he got a bright future.
I think regardless,
But
he's
it is
still
an
going to be
unfortunate
getting
loss.
paid. Like
It's an
independent
unfortunate loss,
companies,
though.
they're going to book him. AEW, I won't be surprised if they sign him.
Dude, Matt Riddle
he's
had
very
so much
talented.
potential.
The problem is that he's his own worst enemy.
That's what I'm saying. Like he had so much potential to be a future world champion. He had so much potential, and he was so fucking over with the crowd for so long.
It was brilliant for them to
And,
pair him
yeah.
up with Randy Orton, man. Even though I didn't really like the RK Bro stuff, it was
But
smart
still,
because
Yeah.
he started to become a regular on TV weekly, and that's how the fans started to get engaged with him.
That, and again, he just like, when he got into the zone, the dude was one of the most entertaining fucking people on the screen. And it's just it really is an unfortunate loss. The dude was fucking, he had a bright future in WWE, and it's just unfortunate how things turn out sometimes.
He could have been world champion.
That's what I'm saying.
What's your thoughts, Danny, on this?
Riddle is a very talented individual, but I believe he's his own worst enemy. He gets in his way a lot of the times, and obviously we saw it last year when he got suspended for a couple of months. I think it was like a 90-day suspension or whatever it was, because he had coke and other narcotics or whatever in his system. And it's like, no matter how talented somebody is, they sometimes fall through the cracks. Do I think he's going to go to AEW? Probably. It seems very likely. I mean, besides WWE, they're like, a very close second to what WWE is doing.
I
And in
think
the
Tony
same
Khan would
area,
pay him a lot of money.
and he wouldn't have to move
My
very
only
far.
thing is they just got rid of somebody that was, quote unquote toxic. Do they want to bring somebody else toxic?
It's a
like
different kind
Riddle
of toxic,
in?
though.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but
the
still.
extracurricular activities that Riddle does, the
The
suspension, all
extracurricular
that.
activities.
I mean,
That's
bro,
what we'll
he
call
Yeah,
it.
but you can get away with that stuff in AEW because they're not as structured as WWE.
My guy, I just hope, man, it's really shitty sometimes.
For the sake of the
all I'm gonna
locker room,
say.
I wouldn't have AEW hire Matt Riddle, but
Yeah, but realistically, Tony Khan, he's going to throw his money out because, there is money potentially to be made. We've seen it a lot back in the day with TNA Wrestling. They signed a lot of, former WWE superstars that had, drug problems and, had issues outside of the ring. And, they'll do anything to, try to get a dollar. That's why, I think it's a real possibility he goes to AEW. But now, here's my thoughts on the whole Matt Riddle thing. I think he is a phenomenal performer. I think that he has everything to be a world champion in this business. But the problem is all the drama this man gets into outside of the ring. He is a liability, just like Booker T said recently on his podcast. And I feel bad for, a lot of these, guys and girls that lost their jobs in WWE, but it's hard for me to feel bad for Matt Riddle because his attitude is just piss poor. It pisses me off the way he acts. And he acted like this in the UFC. And, Dana White, I don't like Dana White, but he got fed up with it and, he kicked him out of the UFC. He had a lot of issues going on over there. And with WWE, there was a lot of backstage, drama with him.
And now that they're fucking with Endeavor, bro, that's
Seth
it.
Rollins. He had problems with Goldberg, which if you didn't check out the WWE 24, you can see their interaction there. He's just very disrespectful to, the people who paved the way. And for me, I'm a diehard pro wrestling fan. I'm a We Are Wrestling maniac. And I feel like, the legends, they deserve respect.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a fan of Goldberg.
regardless,
You
it's
still go
unfortunate.
to him and you shake his hand.
regardless of Riddle's popularity and how good he is, I just don't want him to bring any kind of toxicity to the AEW locker room because God knows
I don't want that either.
They don't need any more bullshit. I mean,
It's already bullshit.
They just put up
Heard
with
it's a
almost
jungle
2
there.
years of it.
Dude,
It's the McDonald's playpen.
like I said, we'll get there. It's I don't know, man. Like I said, it's really shitty how things work out.
It's disappointing.
Sometimes,
It's sad, honestly. I think he's so talented. And I'm not trying to take the talent away, but it's the problems outside of the ring that makes me feel this way. And it sucks because he's so talented. And I really
Yeah.
hope, he, does, figure out his issues. And I really hope that in the next chapter of his life, he goes in with a different mindset.
Yeah, man.
And I'm still, rooting for the guy. I'm still, wishing him the best.
Do you see that interview that Dana White put out about Riddle?
Oh, I did.
How he only had to stay clean 3 times a year, and he
I
couldn't
saw
even
that
fucking-
actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw
Dana
that.
White and him, man, they hate one another. That's for sure.
And I'm think like I don't know, but I mean, Dana White obviously is really close with Ari Emanuel. I mean, maybe Dana White had something to do with this. I mean, obviously the airport incident had a
I
lot
don't
to do with
know.
it.
I think
But
WWE, probably offered him rehab like they do with a lot of their talent,
he already
and
went to
Riddle
rehab
probably
though.
refused it again.
And as far as I know, it was alcohol, not drug related. This incident.
Yeah, but still, WWE, they always tend to, try to do the right thing. And sometimes the talent, they don't feel ready to get help. And sometimes that's just how it is in life. You can't help somebody that, won't help themselves.
I want to go
And
back on
Riddle
my.
hasn't hit reality yet.
I want to go back on my question because we talked about it around the time that this incident first happened. I think a week before he actually got released. Usually on because he was coming back from India, and usually when WWE has long trips like that, they usually have somebody that helps the talent, whatever, if they need anything on the trip, or they usually have a handler or something. And I'm just thinking, where was WWE's handler, or whatever, somebody that takes care of the talent? Where was he when all this was going down? Why was nobody stopping Matt Riddle from doing all this?
And just like I told you a couple weeks ago, Riddle is a grown ass man.
It
He doesn't
doesn't
need a
matter,
babysitter.
bro.
It
When
does matter.
no, it doesn't. When you're on a plane or WWE, whatever it is, you are part of the company. That's not you being Matt Riddle. It's you being Riddle, the WWE performer. So WWE has somebody that
You
specifically
can't you
takes
can't
care of
blame
all
a
the talent.
WWE babysitter for the problems that Matt Riddle's going through, though.
No,
You
but
can't.
why? I mean, obviously he was drinking on the plane. Like nobody fucking bothered to be like, "Yo,
Okay,
what's
is
going
he
on?"
21 or older?
It doesn't matter, bro. Matt Riddle's definitely at fault, but I'm just saying,
He's over 21.
if this was somebody else,
He can
nobody
drink
else
as
would.
much as he wants,
No, he can't.
and
He
he
should be
made
able
his
to.
decision, unfortunately. But moving on now to our next topic, Malachi Black, part of, the House of Black, addressed his AEW hiatus this past week on his Instagram story and said this.
The fact that people care and that it comes from a good place. But about a year ago or so, I made a video about rehabbing a back injury that I had. And the video shows the process, and I talk about overcoming that injury, strengthening my back, etc. And after the video was posted, people started running with this idea that, oh, he has a bad back and therefore A, B, or C, which is not the case at all. And for some reason, that has found its way back. And again, the narrative is, well, he's not had singles matches, etc., because of he has a bad back. He nearly retired because of it, and none of these things are true. Why I'm not having singles matches, I don't know. I think it's because they wanted us to really run as the House of Black and do six-mans. I was also not in six-mans to hide said non-existing injury. Again, rest assured, I do not have a bad back, and the reason why I am at home right now is, well, due to a minor injury, which is I had a slight calf tear and a hyperextension in my knee, which is almost nursed back and almost ready to go back on the road, etc. So, again, I appreciate the concern, but the reality is that I'm fine, and you will see me sooner rather than later. But again, I appreciate the concern. Something that I want to quickly address.
Nice.
And
So,
I keep
what are
forgetting that
your
he's from the
thoughts on
Netherlands.
this?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just fans like to speculate, fans like to talk, fans like to twist what's going on. People just say what they want to say to get some noise going. It's just how it is nowadays, man, especially with the internet. It's so easy to do, it's just one of those cases.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this, Danny?
I heard a lot of rumblings, obviously, and I'm really heavy into the dirt sheets or whatever, and trying to figure out
No shit.
pro wrestling news.
The
But I mean,
toxicity.
I feel like doing this and wanting to at some point make this podcasting thing a career. I feel like you got to, because obviously you got to have news to talk about. So I don't necessarily think maybe going on the dirt sheets is a bad thing. But I have heard that Malachi is dealing with an injury. I didn't know to what extent the injury was. I'm glad to hear that it's not a horrible, career-threatening injury. I have heard a lot of rumblings about his back, and I remember I want to say a year and a half ago, I remember there was a bunch of stuff coming out that Malachi went on Instagram Live and said that he wanted out of WW or AEW, and apparently none of that stuff was true. And Dave Meltzer was running with the story, and
Yeah, and then he went on
Mhm.
Instagram and pretty much addressed the rumors that he,
yeah,
wasn't trying to leave AEW.
yeah. Um, I do think the reason why he's not having singles matches is because they do want to build up the House of Black. But I also feel like they need to have their own set identities outside of just the group, and that's what made the Dudleys, so entertaining. It's what made Kane and Undertaker so entertaining. Edge and Christian, the Hardys, all these groups or whatever that we grew up watching. Like they did a lot of stuff as a tag team, but they weren't afraid to, push them out there by themselves. How many times has Matt Hardy won the European title, and Jeff the Intercontinental Champion, and so I feel like you gotta let them experiment, outside of the group in order for them to be successful.
Yeah, and they
Um,
were having Brody King wrestle single matches and Buddy Matthews. How
yeah,
many days was it for Malachi? It was like what, 400 days that he hasn't had a singles match?
I think so. But also, I will say, I mean, it's very easy for him to, downgrade his the kind of injury that he does have. So just so people will stop talking, he could be like, "All right, man, I'm gonna tell you this just in order for you guys to shut the fuck up about it." I mean, there is a possibility about that too.
Here's my thoughts about the whole, Malachi Black addressing, the whole hiatus thing. I really like how, he does go on his Instagram story and he addresses, what's going on with his fans. Because one thing I notice about AEW, which really grinds my gears, is
Grind
they
my gears.
never they never announce injuries. Like they keep it so under the radar. Like WWE, at least you know what's going on with the superstar and why they're not on TV. AEW, on the other hand, like here's a perfect example. The whole, Adam Cole thing. I know we saw him on Dynamite this past Wednesday with the ankle, and we really didn't know exactly what was going on with that until Britt Baker, posted on Twitter like the x-ray and like him at the doctor's and like the bruise on his ankle.
Yeah,
And
dude
like
broke
there's
it
really
3
just
places.
no communication with the injuries. Kyle O'Reilly, we haven't heard nothing from him, which I think this past week Bobby Fish finally, commented on that. So AEW's like lack of like transparency with, the fans, there's a reason why like fans are, bothering Malachi about what's going on. Why aren't you on TV? Oh,
Yeah.
you don't want to be here. That's why those rumors come out. And AEW, I just don't understand why they just don't like talk about what's going on with the superstar, the wrestler.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go all the way back to when everything was going on with Brody Lee or whatever, and everybody was praising everybody involved with AEW, Tony Khan, all the management or whatever, because they kept that medical issue private and
That
nobody
was life
outside of them.
threatening, and I totally understand why they kept that under the radar. But
But
like
they got
Malachi
they
with
got
a
they
calf
got
injury,
they got praisal for that though. They got praisal for that. So they're probably in the back of their mind. They're probably like, well, everybody praised us for keeping this situation private. Who knows if Malachi and all these guys want that information out there? Because it'd be very easy for them to automatically go on social media and say it themselves. So maybe TK is trying to, stay away from outing people's personal business. You know what I mean? It could always be that too.
how do you feel about that, Ben?
I mean, I can understand both sides. Like, I can understand being a little bit more transparent, but I can also understand a little bit of privacy for, the respect of, certain talents. So, I mean, it's kind of a gray area, It's a 50-50. You're not, it's one of those cases where you're not going to please everybody. But, depending on the severity of the injury and when it happened and what it affects, I would be a little bit more transparent for sure.
Yeah, I just think, like I get it, like why, like with the privacy thing, like I totally get it. Like the Brody Lee thing, I still praise AEW to this day
Oh,
with,
yeah.
keeping that under the radar. But I don't know, like I feel like some of these wrestlers, they do get frustrated when, fans are continuing to, bother them and be like, where are you at? Like, what's going on here? And, Malachi had to go on Instagram and pretty much like address what's going on.
The fuck happened? He was just chilling and then he was gone.
I don't know.
Should we wait a
Yeah,
second?
we probably should. Let me pause it.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling podcast. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Collecting has always had a special place in my heart, going all the way back to when I was a kid. I remember my parents taking me to Toys R Us and waking up on Christmas morning to a bunch of new action figures. I had bins filled with thousands of rare WWE, WCW, ECW, and TNA figures through the years until, unfortunately, I ended up selling my whole childhood without knowing the true value of my collection. 2 years after I made that horrible decision, the pandemic hit, and I realized there was a part of me that felt missing, and that was collecting. My whole life, I have loved collecting wrestling figures, wrestling memorabilia, classic video games, Nickelodeon stuff, sneakers, Funko Pops, and even Angry Birds. As time went by, I decided I wanted to get back into collecting, except this time, document it and rebuild my collection over on Best One Donnie. So, if you want to go back into time and relive my nostalgic memories, subscribe now. We're back, and unfortunately, Danny was having some technical difficulties, so he will not be a part of the rest of We Are Wrestling Podcast 76. I think his Wi-Fi kicked him off because he was being a little too toxic. But that's just, my
The
opinion
Lord hath
about that.
smitten him.
But moving on now to our next topic. This past Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, we saw Adam Cole on crutches, and apparently it's not a work.
Yep.
Adam Cole has broken his ankle in 3 places. He was set to defend his ROH Tag Team Championships with MJF versus the Righteous at Wrestle Dream. What's your thoughts on Adam Cole, being sidelined with this injury because he is going to have to get some surgery and be away from AEW for a little bit?
It's unfortunate, especially since, injuries are becoming such a regular thing lately. It's unfortunate because their story has been phenomenal, and we were building towards some pretty great shit, and now a lot of it's going to be put on hold. So it's upsetting. It's really, really upsetting, especially could you imagine the fucking pop if LA Knight was at SmackDown for the main event sequence between Solo Sikoa and fucking Jimmy Uso with fucking John Cena? Like, do you understand how big that shit would have been? So it's going to be huge when it happens. So I'm really, really excited about that. But it's really, really unfortunate because, again, it really slows down momentum, I feel like, in a lot of ways, because things start to get shifted a little bit. You start focusing on other storylines, and then once you get to revisit it, it takes a while to come to full fruition, and AEW already has an issue when it comes to fucking storylines and keeping them fucking clean. So it's unfortunate in a lot of ways. So that's all I'll say. It's unfortunate addition to the end of the summer of injuries.
It is very unfortunate. And the tweet that Britt Baker posted, because this is where, a lot of fans, because at first, if you did watch AEW Dynamite, at the end, we did have that, twist with, the person wearing the devil mask at the end, and then, they left us off on a cliffhanger. And a lot of people thought it was Adam Cole, and Britt Baker ended up posting, the tweets with, the picture of the ankle and, the x-ray as well. And she said this guy broke his ankle in 3 places on a freak accident. He still hobbled around on live TV because, as we like to say, the show must go on. At Adam Cole Pro gives his entire heart and soul to pro wrestling. He's one tough cookie, and this is just a small bump in the road. He'll be back better than ever, baby.
So what does that mean for their tag team champions?
So apparently what's going to happen is MJF is going to be wrestling the Righteous in a 2-on-1 handicap situation, defending the championships.
Okay.
In honor of his buddy Adam Cole.
Well,
but here's my thoughts
works.
about the whole, Adam Cole injury thing. Very unfortunate because obviously in AEW, the hottest storyline right now is Better Than You, Baby, with MJF and Adam Cole. The skits that they do are amazing. The chemistry
Yeah.
that these two have, created has been fantastic. Adam Cole's run was very dry at first with AEW, but with MJF, it seemed like he really found that comfort spot. And he's become, that main event guy that he once was, in NXT and, Ring of Honor. And, pretty much Adam Cole, has really found his place on the AEW
Yeah.
roster. So it is
That's
very
great.
unfortunate that, he got injured during this time. I do think that, MJF, he'll be just fine. But if MJF leaves AEW for WWE and, the bidding war of 2024,
I'm
that's
so
gonna
excited
be
because
really tough
it's coming up.
with this whole storyline because who knows how long Adam Cole's gonna be out with this injury.
And around when in 2024 does the contracts run out?
January 1st for MJF. And we're about to be in the beginning of October, bro. Hopefully MJF has signed that deal because if they have no end story to this Better Than You Baby thing, that is really not going to look good for AEW.
Nope. And I think Tony Khan will dish out whatever money he has to keep MJF, but it really depends. I don't know where WWE's standpoint is with MJF and what where their interests lie and what they would want to pay him, considering
You see, I feel like it's common
especially his
sense
style.
here. Here's the thing. I feel like it's common sense that WWE is very interested in MJF because we're noticing a pattern here with a lot of Cody Rhodes guys and girls. And a lot of them seem like they're, on their way out of AEW and heading to WWE. We saw it with Brian Pillman Jr. He just had a vignette over on NXT. Now Jade Cargill, the news,
Yep.
broke. And we're going to be diving into that pretty soon. And I feel like it's only a matter of time before MJF leaves, Ricky Starks leaves, QT Marshall leaves. And a lot of these people that, Cody Rhodes, was pretty much their mentor. Because the guy that found MJF, believe it or not, was Cody, because he did a lot of stuff in, the Northeast area for, independent shows during his, free agency time.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Like I said, it really all comes down to what they can do for him to keep his, character and his gimmick justice. Because he's not going to be able to get away with a lot of the shit that he gets away with at AEW. It's already inevitable. They're going to dull him the fuck out. But obviously, he can do it all. But at the same time, MJF's real, interests align in money. And that's a big factor. So if they're going to lowball the fuck out of him, he's going to say in AEW. That's going to be a done deal. 100%.
He already said, man, in interviews, he's not taking, he said the offer sheet better have 10 million or more on it for him to sign the contract. He said he wants 7 figures.
Well, 7 figures is only one. It's not 10 million or more. That's
also
less than
8
10
figures.
million.
He probably said then.
I don't know if he'll ever get 8 figures because there's not many people that do. I don't even think Roman gets 8 figures.
Roman does.
Oh, he does?
He does.
For what? For what?
Brock Lesnar does.
That I understand. Brock's a fucking veteran.
John Cena did.
Cena carried the whole fucking company for 20 fucking years.
He deserves every penny.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, where does Roman deserve?
All I know is
figures?
MJF better get paid, man. He's
He'll get
earned
paid.
this
It's just
big payday.
for sure. I'm worried there. So I don't think WWE is willing to meet him at his ballpark. So
how do you feel about them having this Ring of Honor tag team title match at Wrestle Dream without Adam Cole?
it'll be interesting. I think it'll definitely be a sentiment of what MJF can do and how he can appeal to a crowd and by himself between two people, and to be able to defend those successfully. That's gonna, if he can pull it off and that's where they end up going with it and he ends up taking the win, that's gonna be massive to his just title credibility in general. Like, that's going to make him even more fucking stacked, more serious. And I'm really excited about it. So it's like, at the same time, if you're going to be a tag team champion, you're still going to have to have like an intermittent partner. So that opens up so many fucking doors right there too. And that can also add to the MJF and Adam Cole fucking storyline when he's gone for so long and somebody else is filling the void. You know, there's
Robbie
a lot there.
Strong, next strong. All right,
You know what I
so
mean?
I'm gonna leave it off as this. I don't know how I feel about this match happening. I think you have to, the show must go on. I think that, Vincent and Dutch, they're the guys that are part of the Righteous. I got to watch them, grow as well before, making it in Ring of Honor and, now AEW. And honestly, I'm really happy that they're going to get this opportunity still. But man, these Ring of Honor championships, oh my God. To me, it's just a waste of time. Like at this point, I don't even think there's one active Ring of Honor wrestler that's, holding the titles. You have all AEW people. Eddie Kingston has the world title. MJF and Adam Cole have the tag titles, which they haven't appeared on Ring of Honor TV. And, the 6-man titles now are the Young Bucks and Hangman Adam Page. Like, this is just, I don't know. I'm sick of these titles, but I am excited to see, MJF get that John Cena pop at this show because, it's bound to happen, especially that, Adam Cole now is on the sideline. I hope the end goal is MJF does retain the championships and then they find a way to have, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, the Kingdom, because they've been, with Roderick Strong during this whole, neck thing. I hope that, they get a 2-on-1 handicap match and then they take the titles from MJF so that they can continue, the storyline at least with, Roderick Strong and MJF.
Yeah.
But we're just going to have to wait and see with what happens. Hopefully Adam Cole does, heal up in time because I really do want there to be an end, to this Better Than You, baby. I don't want to be left on a cliffhanger for years.
No, for sure. Like I said, things happen and it's very unfortunate, but we'll see how it all culminates and how they handle it.
Alrighty. Well, moving on now to our next topic, probably the hottest topic this week in the wrestling
That's my
world.
highlight of the week.
Jade Cargill is officially a part of WWE. According to ESPN, Jade signed a multi-year deal with the promotion and said signing with WWE was no-brainer, and that was always the end goal. The video of her arriving at the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida to train at the facility had 5 million views in 24 hours. The announcement post of her signing has over 14 million views in 24 hours. What's your thoughts on this news now being official?
Dog, that pop is going to be fucking massive. I'm so excited when Worlds collide and the Forbidden Door opens and, people jump ship and really do get to prosper because AEW is what's established Jade Cargill, which is why she's going straight to fucking main roster. She's already a known force, and the way she's built, the way she moves, the way she can work, the way that she's literally a package fucking... She's money, bro, and they know it, and they're going to utilize it.
You know what's crazy about that too, Ben? She's had less than 100 matches, bro, in her career.
That's what I'm saying. They see the value in her, and they're going to fucking shoot her to the stars, bro. She's built just like Charlotte Flair, just a little bit better. I ain't going to say why, because it's not that kind of platform. But I fucking... Yeah, dude, that's going to be a moneymaker match. I'm going to watch the fuck out of that shit. All of that shit, dude. I'll be all up in those matches. I'm really, really excited about this signing because it's going to be huge. We're going to have 5-star classics between the likes of Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill or Jada Parker. We're going to be having 5-star classics with Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, like I just said, the whole fucking women's roster. And
that's the one I'm waiting
Becky
for,
Lynch,
man.
Bayley, fucking mad people. There is a line of people I'm excited to see her fucking collide with. I'm excited to hopefully see her eventually enter a men's rumble and do some crazy shit. I want to see Jade go to the fucking stars, bro. I'm very familiar with her AEW work, so like I'm really excited about this debut because it's somebody that I know from AEW that's coming over and gonna be on my screen more, and she's gonna be at a premium live event. She's gonna be in a match at WrestleMania, this coming WrestleMania. I guarantee it. It's huge, bro. She's gonna make a massive fucking impact the moment she arrives, and I'm stoked for it. But I'm really stoked on how they're gonna do it and where her first angle is gonna be. If it's gonna go straight to title picture or if it's gonna go a little bit more nuanced. But I'm really,
And I'm very
really
excited that
fucking
she's
hyped.
keeping that on the low as well.
I hope Charlotte returns in some capacity or shows up in some capacity, just starts talking, and then gets interrupted by Jade Cargill. Like, that would be a fucking
It's
massive
gonna be one of the best matches, man.
dog. That segment will be one of the most watched segments in a long time. That is gonna be huge fucking shit, bro. I am so stoked for this debut. I can't talk about how I'm simping. I'm borderline simping.
And that's the thing. I want to let all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs know that are listening to the podcast. If you haven't been over to the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel, there's a brand new Hot Takes episode out where, I
Be sure to
dived
watch
in and I gave, my thoughts on the whole, Jade Cargill, signing with WWE. And my big point was they made her feel larger than life.
And it's
And
working.
man, surprises. I understand the nostalgia feeling of a surprise.
But this was greatly done.
But this, doing it the way they did, ESPN, the biggest sports, station in the entire world, and, putting this announcement out there, putting the pictures of her training at the, performance center, putting the video of her walking into the performance center.
So
fucking brilliant.
Dude, so I saw her interview. I think his name's Kevin from ESPN. The dude that sits down on the
It was like
the
a
pre-shows.
10-minute interview.
Yeah, dude. I really want to just point out the fact of how well spoken she is. So I'm really stoked for her. I'm really stoked to hear her promo work on a WWE scale, and I'm also really excited to hear how her mic skills are now. So I'm really, really excited about this. Again, this entire package, man.
And that's the thing I want to say as like a day one AEW fan. I got to watch her grow. She had one of the worst debuts in all of pro wrestling. Like, it was totally botched, very inexperienced, very green, but you got to watch her, have this streak, win her first, championship, which, in history, she'll always be the first ever ABS,
TBS.
the TBS champion. And we got to watch her grow. And honestly, I always knew that Jade Cargill would be a perfect fit in WWE. She seems more of like the sports entertainment, star than, the pro wrestler. So she really did stand out in AEW. And I'm so glad WWE took this route.
Oh my God,
they made her feel like a big time player. And that is how you build fucking stars.
And it's almost weird too.
I love
because it's weird too. Because this feels larger than life. Like, it feels like she's inevitably just destined for greatness in WWE. And
you know what this reminds me of, Ben?
What?
You love the ruthless aggression era. I love the ruthless aggression era. Yeah. This reminds me of when WWE debuted MVP. Because remember, like, they built it like he was, like the hottest free agent. He had like the biggest SmackDown contract. Like, they made him feel like a big-time player. And I think they took that route here with Jade Cargill, which I really like.
See, I feel like, that is definitely a great, concept to definitely think about in the mix, and that's true. But I'm also getting a lot of CM Punk vibes, too, from when he debuted in ECW. Like, he was booked as like a next best thing, and he was. And look at the history he's fucking made, for good or bad. The dude is a needle mover. And I'm getting those same fucking vibes with Jade Cargill. Like, she feels larger than life. They capitalized at the right moment. She was able to grow in AEW and be put on this path to where she was always destined to go in the first place. And like I said, no matter what, she's one of the rare occasions that feels like she's just gonna have great fucking feuds no matter where she goes. She could show up in NXT randomly, fuck somebody up, and it would be great. She's going to be feuding against some of the best, and I'm so excited for all of it.
And with WWE's stacked women's division, this
Oh.
is a match made in
Oh.
heaven.
Oh, dude, the fucking goosebumps thinking about it, man. Like, it is such a good signing. This is one of the best signings they've
So I
had
got to
in a
ask
long
you, Ben,
time.
before,
What
you
up?
know, we move on to, you know, more topics this
Yeah,
week.
talk to me.
What were your thoughts on, you know, this week's episode of Hot Takes on the whole Jade Cargill thing?
You made a lot of solid points, man. Like I said, it was you're coming from a non-biased point, and you're also backing up a lot of the facts about Jaden, where this is good for business and good for wrestling in general, and how it's going to add to the product, and like it's really going to allow her to really become who she is, and it's great, man. And like I said, I also have to really point out how clean your fucking camera was in that episode, man. Like there was just something about it that just made it. I was like, damn. Like I pressed play, and I was like, holy
it's the
fuck.
flames, man. It's the
I was
flames.
saying, dude. No, dude. I'm just the camera angle. I'm like, damn, son. Like it was just so fucking clean. Like I said, man, bravo on that episode. Seriously,
Appreciate that.
One
But
of the-
now
one of the
I do
better
got to
ones.
ask you as well, because this is a pattern that we're starting to see. Some AEW talent heading over to the flagship show. I got to ask you, Ben, your thoughts about that, because Jade Cargill is the second big AEW name that has, you know, now beneficial to WWE.
My God.
'Cause
Yeah,
we've seen
man.
a lot of people on the flagship show go over to AEW.
Dog, I'm excited. And like I said, there were two big pulls, Cody Rhodes and Jade Cargill. Those were like Goliath picks. Like if there's anybody that could have gone and jumped ship at the right fucking time, it was both Cody Rhodes and Jade Cargill. Because
And before
it
you give your
makes
thoughts,
sense and
if
it
you guys are
feels good.
wondering Danny's thoughts about this, we both already know this. He doesn't really care. He doesn't
Yeah, he
think
doesn't
this
really
is a
give a
big
fuck.
deal.
But it is a very big deal, which
It's
is
a very
again,
big deal.
Hashtag blame Danny. I really do think that this was one of the most brilliant fucking pickups in a long time. Like I'm really fucking hyped about where this is gonna go. And if CM Punk comes back, dude, we are gonna be in fucking heaven, because he's already hinted that he's coming back. Like he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna be free for the next couple months.
On the MMA show there, right?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'll be able to have some free time over the next couple of months.
Yeah,
That's when
because
his
November, I believe Survivor Series is in Chicago, so he knows what he's doing. It's fucking great. And then there's rumors about Ricky
And-
Starks once his
and bro,
contract's up heading over to WWE.
Yeah, bro. Like I said, he is already technically employed through Endeavor. So and Endeavor wants the ratings and the money. And where's the money?
No, CM Punk isn't a part of UFC. That was Bellator that he did.
No, I'm
that
talking
for.
about Endeavor in general, though. Like
Oh,
not
yes.
UFC, but Endeavor.
Yep.
Like he's still employed through Endeavor. But regardless, like it's some exciting shit. So if he fucking shows up in the mix too, dude, like the roof's gonna explode. Like again, happy about
I'm just saying, the
Edge
way
potentially going to
I'm
AEW,
just saying,
but my
man,
God.
the way AEW, like what WWE has done, they're 2 for 2, and they're about to be 3 for 3 once Brian Pillman Jr. shows up in NXT, because that vignette got me very interested in what they're going to do with
Dude.
him.
What a time to be a wrestling fan.
I'm just saying, AEW, they better start using the talent that they have now, because if they keep, you know, grabbing AEW people and making them larger than life, then, you know, it's
Dog.
going to be a serious issue for that promotion.
Dog, we're eating. Like we're eating.
What a time to be a
As a-
wrestling fan.
Yeah, as a wrestling fan, we are fucking eating right now. And like again, ever since I just gave up on the fucking division of wrestling fans, I have been blissfully enjoying the wrestling world. I've
Me
been
too,
blissfully enjoying it. And apparently, from what Danny was saying, that AEW is going to be streaming here soon. So if that's the case, bro, done deal. Gotta have another show to watch. So really excited about that too.
Alrighty. Well, with that being said, we'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling Podcast 76.
Hey, this is Flip Gordon. You're listening to the We Are Wrestling Podcast. Let's flip and go!
Are you looking for wrestling content? Well, We Are Wrestling provides everything pro wrestling. The best one, Danny Hawkins, and the Load Rager Ben are wrestling marks like you who love this sport. We Are Wrestling has it all when it comes to wrestling content. We have different podcasts, vlogs, reactions, full wrestling matches, live pay-per-view watch-alongs, interviews, predictions, and so much more. Only on We Are Wrestling. What are you waiting for? Subscribe and become a We Are Wrestling Maniac now. We're back. And every week on the We Are Wrestling podcast, well, except for last week because I was absent, we do this thing called Comment of the Week. And if you want to get your comment featured on a future episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast, all you have to do is go over to the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel and comment on any video. And this week we have one comment because that's all I'm allowed to do these days. Hashtag blame Danny. From We Are Wrestling Maniac at Lauren Myers 8410. She commented this: Montez Ford is like a Looney Tunes character with an added jump scare. But Beth is the main star with the glam slam. We're comparing Looney Tunes to pro wrestling, man.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, that was an odd one.
Hey, I wanted to pick an odd one. But
cool, man.
I think something that would be pretty cool here is let's pick one wrestler and compare it to a Looney Tunes character.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, something different, man.
Okay. A Looney Tunes character, so I'm thinking. So for a Looney Tunes character.
I think I got mine.
What do you got? Give me an example.
All right, so the Tasmanian Devil.
Oh shit. Okay.
I'm going to compare the Tasmanian Devil to Samoa Joe.
Really? I was going to go with Ivar for that one. From fucking Viking Raiders. He looks like Tasmanian Devil, dude.
Yeah, I can see that too. But I figured Samoa Joe because, you know, Taz, he's crazy. Samoa Joe, he's pretty crazy.
Okay. So, in terms of Looney Tunes characters, I'm going to go James Ellsworth with Elmer, the fucking hunter. I'm hunting wabbits. You know that dude? Yeah. I think his name is Elmer, the hunter.
Yeah, I think so.
It's wabbit season.
Hold
Duck
on,
season, wabbit season, duck season,
I'm
season,
looking this up real quick. Wait, so Elmer, you said?
Yeah, I think his name's Elmer Fudd or something like that. Elmer Fudd from
Elmer
Looney Tunes.
Fudd, yes!
Yeah, Elmer
There's
Fudd.
somebody at my job outside of here that I compare Elmer Fudd to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's James Ellsworth right there, bro.
I love that. I love that. So congratulations to Lauren on, you know, the comment of the week. If you want to get your comment featured on a future, you know, segment here on the We Are Wrestling podcast, all you have to do is go to the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel and comment on any video. That was a pretty fun one, though, I gotta say.
Yeah, that was different. I've never, I don't think ever in a million years I'd ever think I'd be asked to compare a WWE wrestler to a Looney Tunes character. So that was definitely an interesting one. Bravo. Touche on that one.
I got to give 2 thumbs up for that one to Lauren. But
that's a 5-star fucking comment.
Let's get
there,
back
Lauren.
into the topics for this week.
All right, let's do it.
And our first topic, unfortunately, is another AEW one because a lot of news has been going on in the AEW world. Eddie Kingston has re-signed with AEW. The contract is set to be a 4-year deal. Kingston said this.
That's why I love AEW. That's why, if you notice, you haven't heard anything about me with contracts because I did my shit on the low.
Yeah.
My thing was coming up. I got 4 more years, so I'm straight.
Heck yeah, brother.
No one needs to know. No one needs to know how much. No one needs to know how long. I got my fucking shit. I got my shit, and I'm gonna be there for a minute because there's nowhere else I want to be. This is why I love AEW. That's why, if you notice, you haven't heard anything about me with contracts because I.
Oh, okay. I was like, is there more?
So, what's your thoughts on AEW bringing back Eddie Kingston?
It's a no-brainer. He belongs there. He's able to be his own character. He's got his own like creative thing going on. I feel like he wouldn't really fit WWE's bill anyways in terms of just build alone because, you know, Vince McMahon loves the more juiced up looking dudes.
Same with Triple H too.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, it's just we're in that era, and
yeah.
I feel like Eddie Kingston would just kind of be an odd one out there. I don't think there's really any feuds that he would really collab
You
with
can't give
really
the man a
well.
script.
You can't. So I don't think he would belong in WWE. And then Impact is just kind of, I feel like, and I'm gonna openly say it, a fucking downgrade. And anything anywhere else really except for New Japan, which again I could see him going to, but I just AEW, man. I think he could really still thrive there, and he could still bring a lot more to the table for the next few years. So I think it was a done deal.
I think that this is a fantastic move by AEW to bring back Eddie Kingston. I said this a long time ago, and I still stand by this. I really think that Eddie Kingston is the Tommy Dreamer of AEW. He's the heart and soul of that place. And you could tell how much passion, how much love he has for, Tony Khan and, AEW itself with, the promo work. Because one thing I notice is like body language, and you could tell what Eddie Kingston is putting out on television is 150% Eddie Kingston. He's being himself, and I think, sometimes that is the best work in wrestling is when you're able to be yourself. There's a reason why John
Absolutely.
Cena was the face of WWE for so many years because that is really John Cena. The guy that does, all the media interviews and does all the live events, does all the shows. He's a hard worker and, even does, the nice things like giving back to people and, the whole make a wish stuff. It's all, genuine. And I think, Eddie
Doesn't he hold the
Kingston,
record for the most granted wishes?
he does, yes.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
And Eddie Kingston, man, I think is a wonderful fit in AEW. I wish they would put this man in the world title picture, not Ring of Honor, AEW world title, because I think you can have a heel hold that championship. And if you put him against Eddie Kingston, that could make great television and great storyline. So I really hope,
Hell yeah.
these next 4 years, they really utilize Kingston to the best of his abilities because I think that, he has the potential of being a big, big time player over there. Yes, he doesn't have the look, but man, the passion with the promos that he cuts, the fans are invested in him. And he
Yeah.
could be one of the biggest baby faces in all of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
But man, I gotta say, like, it does, it's good that AEW, is able to retain him. I think that, WWE definitely wasn't an option for Eddie Kingston, man. He loves the freedom that he's got. I think
Yeah.
he likes, the Forbidden Door thing too, because I believe he's been doing work for New Japan as well. And I believe he has a championship from over there.
Yeah.
And if Ricky was here, I'm sure he could tell us that. But moving on now to our last topic before we dive into the main event. Rick Boogs was released by WWE, unfortunately, last week. But in his comment section on his personal YouTube channel where he does workout videos, he commented, I could say with 100% certainty, the removal of Vince McMahon killed my career. What's your thoughts on this? Because a lot of the times, wrestlers come out and, they don't defend Vince McMahon. This is the first time somebody has, come out and pretty much, had Vince's back, I guess.
Yeah, so the thing with Rick Boogs, it felt like a Vince thing because that gimmick is very silly. I feel like Rick Boogs is a serious athlete that could do quite a bit and could have done quite a bit and had so much potential had he had a gimmick change and a more serious route. But he was definitely, like I said, it kind of came out that he's a Vince guy, and that's okay, but some things just don't work out, and it just doesn't fit in the direction that they want to go. And if you can't be utilized right now in terms of, the merger, unfortunately, you're going to get cut, and it's apparent, and it's unfortunate, but I hope he does thrive elsewhere and does get a good gimmick change and gets to thrive.
And that's the thing about Rick Boogs. And I know like you and I and, Danny, of course,
Yep.
we're talking about, this in, our group chat. And I gotta say, man, like, I could see where Rick Boogs is coming from because everything, about his character on TV did scream Vince McMahon because everything, Rick Boogs has charisma, like he can be larger than life, his character work, his promo skills, his in-ring work. He
Yeah,
has everything Vince loves in a superstar. So I could totally,
literally.
him being a Vince guy. And, with Triple H, he did make his return from, his quad injury at WrestleMania. And yeah, Triple H just had no idea what to do with him. And I feel like
Yeah.
you can't really blame Triple H. You can't blame Vince McMahon. At the end of the day, I feel like every promoter going, Impact Wrestling, NWA, even AEW, even independent wrestling shows, they all have their guys and girls that they're going to push. Triple H, he loves Karrion Kross. There's a reason why he was one of the first people that he brought back.
Mm-hmm.
Vince McMahon, he had his larger than life characters. He had his Rock, Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, John Cena, even Roman Reigns. And, even with, TNA back in the day, Jeff Jarrett, he loved, his X divisions, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels. And just every promoter out there has their own people and their own agenda that they're pushing. And Rick Boogs, isn't a part of Triple H's plan. And I think that's like the reason why he got cut.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because I think the guy is very, charismatic and, very entertaining, which is why, Vince McMahon and WWE gave him, opportunities with, the Old Spice commercials and, they brought him up on TV because you have to remember in NXT, Boogs didn't do anything. And Vince McMahon saw something in him and brought him in immediately with, Shinsuke Nakamura at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you were a pretty big fan of Rick Boogs' work.
Yeah.
But man, it does suck because a lot of people, with this release thing, they were very talented. I know last week you and Danny covered it on the live episode. I wasn't there, but man, a lot of talented people lost their jobs. But at the end of the day, if you're not doing anything with, these people, like it is best, you move on from them because
Yeah.
why let them, hang out in catering?
Yeah.
And I think Rick Boogs, he's going to be just fine. I guess, like he's been saying, there's been, issues with like backstage politicking and stuff.
Mm.
I could see Boogs, going to like Impact or like
Yeah.
NWA because I
Yeah.
know, Billy Corgan, even though I can't stand the guy as much as a wrestling promoter, not a musician, he loves to push those big men like Vince McMahon. He loved his Tyrus for some reason.
Yeah.
But with that being said, let's dive into the main event topic for We Are Wrestling Podcast 76. And this one is a really good one. And I think we're definitely going to be talking about this for quite a while here. There's rumors going around that Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is set to be a part of WrestleMania 40. Adding to the speculation is the fact that WWE was recently sold to Endeavor. There is a strong suggestion the company, which is also owns the UFC, wants its first WrestleMania in charge to be an absolute showstopper. As a result, there is talks The Rock might very well wrestle in Australia at the Elimination Chamber in February, on his way to WrestleMania to face Roman Reigns 2 months later. Do you see The Rock returning in 2024 at WrestleMania 40? And after, we give our thoughts on that, how would you book WWE's, Rock's road to WrestleMania if he's available?
Okay. Do I see him wrestling at WrestleMania 40? Absolutely. Hell yeah. I mean, the writer's strike just ended, but I think we're kind of in the process now where he's already set this up. And I think it's going to be brilliant. Wrestling at the Elimination Chamber, I don't know if he's going to be in the chamber, but maybe like wrestling a match. Yeah, I could see. How I would book him, I don't know. I don't know at this point because he made one appearance and I thought it was going to kick off there. But he hasn't really been seen recently since then. So I don't know where the best place for him to show up is. And I don't know which part of the story because we're kind of focused somewhere else right now. So it's a very awkward situation at the moment.
It is a very awkward situation, and man, this host on Busted Open Radio, David Lagarza, he went in on the whole, Rock return thing. And this is a clip that I definitely, do want you to hear real quick.
Okay.
After I, give my thoughts on this whole, situation here. Because I do agree, it is a very awkward situation here with The Rock coming back. Because we all know WWE, their goal is Cody Rhodes to be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns for, the championship. And we all thought it was going to happen at WrestleMania 39.
Yeah.
But
all the stars aligned and it just fucking, yeah.
And they didn't pull the trigger then. And I think, the plan was, let's have, Cody, have some hard times like, his father did, throughout his career. And let's have Cody win the championship at WrestleMania 40. And I think they're in a very awkward situation here because they want to set Cody Rhodes up as the next guy. But then you have an opportunity to have that dream match, Rock versus Reigns, which is big fucking money. And I feel like WWE, it's a very awkward situation that they're in because they have to choose what they're going to do. And man, I'm going to play this clip here of David's, thoughts. Dude, you have to, like, he went in on the whole. No, you're gonna love this. I think you're gonna start listening to Busted Open Radio once you hear this.
Okay.
Let me find it real quick.
My man ain't even prepared for it.
I am not. So, Ben, here is what David on Busted Open Radio said about the whole Rock return.
Okay.
And this was hilarious. Bully Ray and Mark Henry are part of this.
I thought that moment at WrestleMania 39 was Cody's moment. You guys explained to me, not his time. Let's get Cody bigger. And you know what? Since that day, up until this past Friday afternoon when Rock made those comments, I have been consistently eating crow to the point, guys, that I'm starting to like the taste of crow because I eat it every day. But after those comments on Friday, I think completely different. Why? Why in God's name would The Rock make the comments that he did on Pat McAfee's show? The match between The Rock and Roman didn't happen at WrestleMania 39. For whatever reason, it didn't happen. But why mention that? Why say that? Because that just kills what we did see at WrestleMania 39. Now the WWE, excuse me, Rock, but it's not all about you, Mr. Movie Star. They actually built a story that the fans are invested in. And they actually have somebody that they love in Cody Rhodes. I'm sorry, guys. You may think differently. I think The Rock spread open his cheeks and shit all over it. Why? Because he said that the match was supposed to be his at WrestleMania 39. And who knows? Maybe it can happen at WrestleMania 40. I'm sorry, Rock, but from my eyes, The Rock was completely disrespectful to the business of the WWE and completely disrespectful to Cody Rhodes. I'm saying it now. You are disrespectful to the business of the WWE by what you said on Pat McAfee's show, and you're disrespectful to Cody that I'm a fan of and millions of people are fans of. The business didn't happen. Get over it. Move on. Now,
Yeah, so that was David's comments, and Bully and Mark are just looking at the camera the whole time, and they're just like,
my man dropped a fucking bomb on this dude. Holy shit.
Are you sure it was a bomb, or I think it was a nuclear bomb, man?
Yeah, it was a nuke, yeah. So I mean, I can kind of get where he's coming from in his soul, but at the same time, like, man, you need Jesus. Like, that was like, I'm a fan. I understand that it was Cody's moment, but to say that is kind of foreshadowing that whole fucking situation. I do understand. But to go out and say he's being disrespectful to WWE and Cody Rhodes is kind of a stretch. Like, I feel like he has anger stemming from something else, and then to have Mark Henry and Bully Ray just being like the whole time in the camera makes it even funnier. I'm gonna have to see that clip like physically eventually because I have to see their expressions. But yeah,
It's
man,
priceless.
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what I'm like I said, I'm with you, but I'm also with Dan on the whole, like, I guess whenever we get it, we get it. But I was hyped for the Rock return back in like 05, I was hyped for the Rock return back in 2011, but I don't know. There's just something that's different this time, like I'm stoked for him and Roman eventually. But I don't know.
I think it's
feel
just
like
us wrestling fans are just getting impatient. We want this to already happen.
because you're stretching it by fucking years, bro. It's like nobody cares that long. We are literally in the fucking age of shorts material. We don't have time for this 5-year reign bullshit. We don't got time for this. Where people get uninvested really quick. And why? I mean, why Roman of all people? Like, I don't know. I could go on and on. Man.
I get what you're saying here because Roman is already an established star, and you could definitely put like a
Cody.
new, and you could put a newcomer over,
dude,
with The Rock.
I wish that fucking Roman would drop the titles at the Rumble to Cody. I wish that were the fucking case.
Okay, now this is
because
where
they
I wanna,
don't need
this is where
they
I'm
don't
gonna,
need the titles
I'm gonna tag
for the fucking
myself in.
match. Go ahead.
So, this was what I was saying in our group chat. So, here's how I would fantasy book a Rock versus Roman WrestleMania 40 scenario. Cody Rhodes after the War Games match, because obviously it's going to be Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and Cody Rhodes versus the Judgment Day, which will be Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Dirty Dom, and JD McDonough. I think after that match happens at the Survivor Series, if they do War Games, which I think they're going to, that's when, the trade will happen where Cody will go to SmackDown because we've already seen him, teasing it for the past few weeks in his promos that, it's the third ending now. And like, I think the plan is, Cody is going to SmackDown at some point. It's going to happen, I think, after War Games. And here's how I would book it. Royal Rumble, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Make it happen at the Rumble. That is one of your big 5 Premier Live events. So you can have that as the main event match. And Cody Rhodes gets that moment because Cody has been a workhorse. And I think that, WrestleMania 39, as much as, it sucked in the moment, it was the right call to wait.
Because here's the thing.
Cody Rhodes just came back at the Rumble after, the whole quad injury, or no, the pec injury.
Yeah.
And I just think that wasn't enough time for him
and
to
here's
be
another
built
thing,
as
man.
the champion.
If he wins at the Rumble, you got a new champion for the face of a headline for WrestleMania, and you could have Gunther win the Rumble, have him fucking face Cody at Mania, or even LA Knight, have him face fucking Cody at Mania, and then you can focus on Roman and fucking The Rock for a build-up towards WrestleMania for their match, because you don't need the fucking titles.
That's exactly how I would do it, because at the Chamber, they're talking about The Rock wrestling. You can have him wrestle Solo Sikoa or Jimmy Uso in a singles match.
Or fucking both. Or
Triple
fucking
threat.
both. Yeah.
There's so many scenarios that they could do. I just think that Roman versus Rock doesn't need a championship. I think that that's money by itself, and that is a solid main event for night 2.
Because here's the thing, you could even put fucking Jimmy and fucking Solo in a team together against Rock and Jay. Like, you could even do that shit. Like, it would be fucking mind-blowing, bro. And then having fucking Roman watch the whole thing as the bloodline is just crumbling in front of him. Like, dude, yeah, I'm for it. So there's so many ways you could do it. And I'm really excited about all ends. So I feel like that's the perfect world scenario.
That is the perfect world scenario because Cody, I think, still needs to win the championship. That's the end goal. And I think the longer they wait, the more it's going to hurt Cody Rhodes' run, because at some point in AEW during his run, he was, the TNT champion, and, it got very repetitive. A lot of people were getting tired of the Cody Rhodes feuds and storylines and matches. They wanted him to turn heel. He didn't want to do that. And that's when, we saw, Cody make the decision to go bet on himself and go back home to the WWE. And look what happened. He's the biggest babyface right now. He is the most over superstar in there. Even with the lackluster storylines, Cody is still that guy to the fans. And I think WWE, they need to capitalize on that. And I think you're not going to hurt Cody in this situation if you have him win the title at the Rumble and you let Roman versus Rock happen at WrestleMania 40.
Boom.
And I think that that's the perfect scenario. Because honestly, man, if Cody wins the championship, that's going to be a marquee match at WrestleMania. Cody versus whoever. Because Cody is already a big star in the WWE right now. We're going to be getting Jay versus Jimmy. That's going to be another big one. We're also going to be getting, the World Heavyweight Championship as well at Mania. So they're already setting this up to be one of the biggest WrestleManias in history. Yep. And I think that Roman Rock, they don't need a title.
They don't.
So, anything else before we close this week's episode off?
No, we covered it all, man. It was a good show.
I think so. So, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there, let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on all the topics that we covered this week. We do once again apologize for Danny's technical difficulties on this episode. We were really looking forward to doing this, the big three, but things happen. But if you guys enjoyed this week's episode of the We Are Wrestling Podcast 76, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just a 5-star review, but a best one review, and download the episode. But if you're watching this over on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we have lots of awesome content over on our channel. We're posting wrestling vlogs, sponsored matches, different podcasts like hot takes that you don't get, on the audio version. And we have extras, live watch-alongs, lots of awesome stuff over there. Recommend you guys to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow Ben and I over on our social medias and other YouTube channels. All the links down below. I do, toy hunts. I do, toy reviews and stuff on my personal channel. Ben, he does music reactions, has a very strong following. His booking fee, man, is expensive having him on this show. So hope you guys appreciate that. All the links down below. And of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.